So very excited, guys, to have on the phone with us what I think is a living legend from Minute Work and, of course, solo work, Colin Hay. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you.
Hey, you are coming to the Florida Theater, which is a lovely venue. You're going to be there on October 16th, and you can bring Minute Work with you. We're very excited.
Well, I'm out with Ringo at the moment, so I play in Ringo's band as well.
Nice.
So we're out here at the moment, and then we finish up in New York in a couple of weeks, and then I go out a couple of weeks after that with Men at Work. So we haven't actually started that tour yet. So we start early October, and I'm the only original member from this touring. It's a touring Men at Work. I have the same band. It's a Los Angeles-based band, but it's just a Men at Work set of songs. So if you like that music and you want to hear those tunes, that's I would recommend you coming out to see us. It'll be good.
I watched a documentary about you, and it said that when you were young, your father came to you and played the Beatles. How must it be for you to play with one of the Beatles in the band?
Well, that novelty never wears off, you know. It's every night we're playing, and it's the same for everybody, I think. You know, it's Steve Lukather from Toto and Hamish Stewart from Average White Band and myself and Greg Bissonette on drums and playing with Ringo. And it's top of the food chain for me. For me, when I was growing up, there was the Beatles, and then there was everybody else. So it's a huge thrill to get to play with them and hang out. There's only one Ringo.
That's for sure. Steve Lukather is a great dude. I interviewed him before, and he's an incredible musician. Very, very talented.
Incredible. Yeah, astonishing, really. Yeah.
It's a thing I noticed about you. I'm kind of in love with the idea of unheralded, incredible musicians. Like, I think of the way Prince played guitar and how few people talked about it. And then listening to you play guitar, I feel like you're one of the best guitarists I've ever heard.
Well, that's very nice of you. I appreciate that. The guitar is a very, very, it's a befuddling instrument. It's many lifetimes of work, and you just feel like you're still scratching the surface. But I'm working on it.
It seems like one of those things it's like golf. You can always play it, but you can never master it.
Right. There's always something else to learn, a different style, and it's a great instrument. I love the guitar.
You grew up in a music store, am I right?
Yeah, from the age of, when I was young, from the age of 5 until I was 14, my mother and father had a music shop on the southwest coast of Scotland, and great way to grow up. You know, incredible music got made during that time. So yeah, it was a small store. We sold everything. My mother and father sold pianos and drums and guitars and records and violin strings and anything to do with music. That's what we sold.
And that really informed like I can't imagine like you would just go around and were you able to or allowed to go ahead and just play whatever you wanted to?
Yeah, I could play everything except I couldn't play the Rickenbacker electric guitar that my father got in. It was like a John Lennon model, and it was £179. That was too expensive.
that was too much. You can't get that one a little.
Can't touch that.
Yeah, and then you guys moved to Australia, and that must have been a huge culture shock for you. Yeah,
extraordinary thing to do when you're. Well, my mother and father were in their 40s, you know, which is a big thing to do when you're in your 40s to go to the other side of the world. So it was great for me. I loved it. I was 14, and it gives you a double perspective on everything. And it was a fantastic place to go to. They wanted something different from the family, and they wanted better weather and a better life, and so that's what they did. It was a brilliant thing to do. So it's incredible how, when you do something like that, or you're in a family, your family decides to do something like that. I mean, it just affects the whole of your life. I mean, there's no way that I would have, been in Men at Work or written a song called Down Under if they hadn't have done that. So it's I think about that a lot. That making moves like that affects the rest of your life in a major way.
And there seems to have been a lot of migration between, a lot of UK areas and Australia. Was there a reason for that, or is it just because, hey, this is a sunny place and we'd like some sunshine?
Yeah, there was many reasons. I think that people wanted to go somewhere after the Second World War in Britain. It was a relatively depressed kind of place for a while. But the Australian government had a what they called they had an immigration policy. It wasn't a particular, it was a little bit of a racist immigration policy at the time, but they only brought white people from Britain to make up the workforce, which was controversial, has been controversial, but that's how we got there. It only costs £20 to go, so the Australian government would bring people from European countries to Australia to build up their workforce and to it actually stemmed from the end of the Second World War. Australia was attacked, and of course it's got such a huge border that some members of the government wanted to have more people there so that Australia could be more effectively defended if it got attacked. But also they wanted to build up the economy also. So anyway, that's how we got there, and I'm grateful that we did.
Yeah, you got there and you were able to use your voice and your songwriting. How did you find out that you had this ability to write songs? Do you remember? Is there a moment, or is that just something that you kind of build to?
Oh, I was 13 or 14. I was just used to write little tunes and little stories and bits and pieces. And so from when I can remember, I was always trying to write songs. It took a long time before I think that they were any good, but yeah, I just I liked doing it. It was something that I enjoyed doing, so I just did it. It wasn't really a conscious thing. It was just something that I could kind of turn my hand to. So that's what I did, and I discovered I could sing. I had this band early. I think it was like 1968 or something. I was 14 or 15, and we had a singer, but he got taken away because he'd stolen a PA system from the school, so the cops come and took him away. So he couldn't sing with us that night, so I had to
But he
sing.
was committed, though. You got to give him that. He was committed to the band.
Yeah, but it didn't take the cops too long to figure out who would steal a PA, There's only two bands in the town. You have to give them about 5 minutes to figure that out.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Another thing too is your humor is just great. I saw in this documentary I watched about you. You told this great story about going into a coffee shop and a 20-year-old says, "Hey, you're the guy from Scrubs," and a 40-year-old goes, "No, that's the guy from Men at Work," and I'm both of those guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because of the age I am now, yeah. I remember you from both, and you got to think just getting that exposure on Scrubs. That had to have been just like a whole new rebirth for you.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. Yeah, I mean, I was on the road, I was touring, and I wasn't complaining about anything. I had an audience, and it was slowly building all the time. But being on a television show like Scrubs, which was a very cool show, and it was both, it was kind of culty, but it was also a very cool show. So. And had a huge following. So when I was on that, I just noticed that my audiences grew quite a lot, and also the average age came down as well. So I started to pick up a younger audience, and that has kind of continued, as well. So yeah, that was a very helpful thing for me, for sure.
Now, when you're doing the Men at Work shows like you're doing October 16th at the Florida Theater, do you mix in some of the Colin Hay solo stuff, or is it all Men at Work stuff?
It's 95% Men at Work. I mean, I think I do a couple of songs just because they sound so good with the band, and they fit in quite well. But it's primarily a Men at Work set, yeah. Which is kind of enjoyable to do if you don't do it that often. It's a cool, it's just I don't know. I don't even really know why I'm doing it, but I just kind of felt like it. It's more of an experiment than anything else, just to see whether that name Men at Work, that we still have an audience here.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
It's crazy because I mean, you guys skyrocketed, so to speak. It took a while, right, to take off in America. Like the rest of the world was already on board. But it took a while for America to come on board. But then once it did, it was a rocket ship.
Not that long really, but it was probably 6 or 9 months after the rest of the world. Which, I mean, we made some blunders back then. We released the second record too quickly, and because we were committed to the rest of the world. But we should have taken the advice of the American, the American label and waited. We were a little bit kind of. Annoyed with the American label because they had rejected the record, so they reject the record for 6 or 9 months, and then when they do get on board, then they would try and make all these demands and kind of run the show, so it's kind of like a typical thing. But looking back on it, we should have listened to their advice, because we released Cargo way too early, because Business as Usual was still in the charts, So, but anyway, that's all. The benefit of hindsight.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, once you look back, you can easily see what you could have done differently. I mean,
exactly. You can do that with your whole life, and there's little point in doing that because it's already gone.
Yeah, I got a few X's that I could have done without. But yeah, so we're really excited to have you guys here, because we're excited to hear the music and stuff like that and live that. Are you going to tell, is it like a storyteller's type of setup, or is it just straight bam, 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 bam?
Oh, it's probably a little bit of a mix. I mean, it's pretty much a music show, for sure. I have a beautiful band. The band is fun. The band is excellent, so that's really a lot of fun. But we might have a bit of a chat between songs and tamper with the truth.
What about after us, you played Melbourne. What are the difference between Melbourne, Florida, and Melbourne, Australia?
Well, Melbourne, Australia is a huge city for one thing. It's like 4 million people, and it's. But I've never really. It's funny that I never really compared the two. I can't even actually remember playing in Melbourne, Florida before, but maybe I have.
I'm sure that you have. It's kind of like just a suburb of Orlando. Is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You've been here a few times, and like one of the times you were here, it was you and the symphony. Do you remember doing that?
That was so great. That was so great. We did 2 nights. Yeah, and I'd love to do more. I'd love to do more of that, But that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
After all these years of doing solo stuff, doing band stuff, being at the top of the charts, doing your own thing, is there anything that you really are looking forward to maybe getting to and trying still?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still just on this learning curve, of the songwriting and recording, and I really love the process. I love being home. I go down the basement, I have a studio down there, and so I just like going down there and messing about with either myself or with a couple of musician friends and seeing what happens. So I just I don't think that I'm not really looking forward to doing anything particularly different from what I've done in the past. Although you're always looking to record different things and come up with different kinds of songs, but I think that the die is cast, so to speak. There's a whole lot of things that happen that happen unexpectedly. Like even going out and playing in Ringo's band, which is what I'm doing at the moment. That's a huge surprise, always. To be working with somebody that played drums in the Beatles. That's an extraordinary thing to happen in your life, and the novelty of that never wears off. So there's always something unexpected around the corner.
And do you think that anybody today, is there any bands today that you think are really on the verge, or that are making great music?
Oh, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. You might probably know more than I. But there's a few people. I don't know, people like Billie Eilish and her brother write really lovely songs, and And even in the past 20 years, I really loved Amy Winehouse, and I think that she's really sadly missed. I mean, there's some really extraordinary people that have come along in the last quarter century or something, but there's a huge amount of product out there, that's for sure, and you have to sift through it. I mean, there's great stuff amongst it, but you have to kind of actively look, and but I don't know, I'm always wary of comparing things that happened back in my time to what's happening now, because then you just sound like some old person who's making false comparisons. But really, when records used to come out, it was an event. And you would look forward to it, and it was always an incredible thing when you'd get like a new Stevie Wonder record or a new Beatles record or whatever it is that you liked. It was a very, very exciting moment. I don't know whether people relate to music in the same way anymore. I'm not quite sure. Maybe they do, but it seems to me that music is just really part of the overall entertainment choices that people have. Whereas back when I was growing up, it was really the most important. That was really the most important form of entertainment that you could have was to listen to music.
Yeah, my whole world revolved around Tuesdays, which was the days that the new CDs came out, and I worked.
Right.
I had a job just so I could buy the new CDs without even necessarily knowing what was on them, just to find the new music. So I don't think it exists like that anymore. I think like back then you had to work for it, and now it's just kind of given to you. And not to, like you said, not to be an old guy lamenting the old days, but that's just a difference that I see.
But we only have this day. So we have to adapt. And,
you're not wrong.
Roll with it,
I just want to say thank you for your music. I was a delivery driver for a long time, and I had all your albums, and I would just listen to those while I was out delivering sub sandwiches. And
I was a delivery guy as well. I drove a truck as well.
Did you?
Younger. Well, I actually used to take these tiles to building sites, and the first day I lost the whole load off the back of the truck. So they were not very impressed with me at all.
Well, your talents were elsewhere, obviously, not necessarily.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Not closing the door of a trailer, more of a songwriter, honestly.
Yeah. Well, no, it was an open back truck. I just took the corner too fast.
Oh no. What did you do? Did you get fired, or did they just?
Well, I went. No, they thought I was management. They thought I was management material.
Oh, well, there you go. Those who can't teach, you know what I'm saying? You got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. We look forward to seeing you here October 16th with the Songs of Men at Work at the Florida Theater. Tickets available right now at thefloridatheater.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Colin Hay.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you. See you later.
Thanks, Colin.